Yo, what's going on, guys? It is your boy Pup coming back with week 5 of the Pokemon Sports League Season 7. This is the last week of the regular season. And if you haven't checked out our last video against Hunky Donkey, that was a great battle, so you better go watch it because I'm going to spoil a bunch of stuff. I'm going to spoil the standings. We're going to go into the playoff implications, go into everything that can go wrong with this, and everything that can also possibly go right with a win today. But we are playing against Lux and the Kansas City Charizards. We played them in both of the last 2 seasons. In Season 5, we played them in the first round of the playoffs, and I think we beat them pretty solidly. Last season, we played them in Week 1, I believe, maybe Week 2 or something like that, and we lost off of Ogre Pun getting an Ivy Cudgel crit on my Tapu Koko. And you know what? They have Tapu Koko on their team now, so I guess that Mon just really was a traitor. But it's going to be a really tough one. Before we go into the team builder, if you guys do enjoy the content, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe because I'm hoping for a very, very solid playoff run here. And yeah, let's go right into some of the standings before we do our team builder. So I'll put the standings up on screen for you, and we'll talk about the playoffs here. So the playoffs, the format has changed every season I've been in here. So this season, 10 of the 16 teams in the conference will make the playoffs. So the number 1 seed will get what's pretty much a double bye. The conference champions will, or the division champions, I guess, will get a bye, and then the seeds 5 through 10 will play in a play-in game to see who faces those conference champions. So at this point, we are the conference champion of Scarlet West, but technically we can lose it if we lose and ESID and the LA Wild Chargers win. They would have to win pretty solidly or me to lose pretty solidly for that to happen, but it's definitely within the realm of possibility. Fortunately for us, if we look at the teams, there's Pittsburgh and Buffalo that are 0-4. There's also 4 other teams that are, or there's 3 teams that are 1-3, which we're guaranteed ahead of. So that leaves 1 spot that's up for grabs in our worst case scenario. And if we look at Scarlet South, Jacksonville, Jolteons, and Tennessee Sea Titans both play each other. One of them is going to end up being 2-3, which means we're going to be locked into the playoffs. I mean, we should have a pretty decent seed with 3 wins anyways, but it's really fluid still. There's a ton that can happen in this last week, but I'm sitting at a pretty solid spot for now. If we look at my differential, though, I'm 3-1, but only +1, which is absolutely horrible. Plenty of people can pass me with this, so I'm hoping to get a win here, because if I have a 4 in that wins column, then not too many people are going to be above me. But Kansas City does have a very, very rough team. It's a really bad matchup for us. They haven't had the best season so far, but I'm hoping that we can pull it through. I would really like to be one of the conference champions. You know, that'll give us a playoff bye, which is really important. And if we win this game, we have a solid chance of becoming the 3 seed. We're going to be either the 3 or the 4. Which means, obviously, yeah, we're going to have to play the highest ranked play-in game winner, but that's not too big of a deal. I think we should be pretty solid in that match, no matter what. I just want to be one of the conference champions so I don't have to play an extra week against a very, very scary team, my bad, which could be, you know, Hunky and the Houston Texans, who we just had a terrible time against. It could be something like ESID, Baltimore, Cleveland. They're all amazing teams in Scarlet. Very, very stacked, and that's not even talking about the top 4. Since we're wrapping up the regular season here, I thought we would look at the stats of my Pokemon and how they've performed so far. Looking at it, we don't really have any standouts. The only thing that is very promising is Minior, 5-1 +4. That's very, very solid. Puts it in the top 20 for kill leader and MVP race, which I think is pretty solid, but we've really just spread it around. A lot of Pokemon come into like 2 or 3 games, which I think is really nice because it makes sure that our opponent has no clue what we're going to bring each week. But I think that I was hoping for some better performances out of maybe Terrapagos, Iron Boulder, even Aegislash, who's done solid, has come to 4 games, the only Mon to have done it. But I think they're just getting outshined by my low tiers like Basculin and Minior. Even Regidrago's doing kind of solid for what we're dealing with here. We do have the opportunity to fix some of the stats on these Pokemon. We at least have 2 more games with this Week 5 and a playoff match, so they could look better, but I think Iron Boulder needs to be redeemed, which we're going to try to do against Lux this week. Hope you guys enjoyed that segment about the playoffs and how we're looking at in the next couple of weeks. But let's just go straight over this team, see the heat that I'm bringing this week. Let's look at Lux's team. They have Volcanion, Ogerpon, Golden Go, Latias, Palisand, Tapu Koko, Titar, Comfey, Volbeat, Sharpedo, and the Zangoose. And a couple key things to note about this. The Zangoose is a top 5 kill leader right now with 8 kills and 1 death, which is crazy. I do think it actually looks decent in this matchup. I don't think it has a bad matchup at all. Its speed tier is a little bit lackluster versus my top threats, but I could definitely see them bringing that on, and it's a threat that we have to deal with. They also have that Ogerpon, which they brought Scarfed versus me in the past, which I think is really solid. I think it still is here. Just to try to outspeed my Iron Boulder, I think is really good to try to outrun +1 Regidrago, plus, anything like that. +1 Miss Magius if I want to run Scarf again like I did last week. I think that those are really solid. I think Palisand looks insane in this matchup. I just think being able to be a physically defensive wall versus my Minior and my Iron Boulder, potentially with Terra can wall my Basculin. It has water compaction. I think it just looks really good, and I think Earth Powers go off into my team pretty much unresisted besides my Arboliva. So that mon definitely has to come. I think Comfey, it might be good just because the threat of Regidrago is so huge against their team if they don't bring another Terra Fairy, because Tapu Koko is not an answer to that thing. But if they do bring it, Aegislash completely walls it, and as you can see, we have setup. I also really like the Golden Go into me. I think that Shadow Ball is very, very solid, especially if I tear out my Arboliva from normal type, so we'll be seeing what we do there. But we're going to start off with Aegislash. We're rocking a weakness policy set. Now this set is really fun. So I can hit Autonomize if I get hit by a Shadow Ball from the Golden Go, a knockoff from the Ogerpon, a Stomping Tantrum from that thing, Flamethrower from the Volcanion, Earth Power, Shadow Ball from Palisand, Dark Move from Titar or Sharpedo, a knockoff or Fire Punch from Zangoose, Mystical Fire from Latias. I mean, every mon on their team pretty much can hit me for super effective damage, but it's not going to do too much for an Arcane Shield form. We'll click Autonomize, we'll be +2 special attack, +2 speed, and I think we just win on the spot at that point. Potentially, if they have Volbeat and they can paralyze me, then we don't just win on the spot. But in every other scenario, we kind of just win on the spot. Maybe a Scarf Ogerpon in the back can Stomping Tantrum and take me out, something like that. But this mon is so good, especially if we can get it set up later in the game after we've really seen what's Scarfed and try to get rid of that. 168 speed with Autonomize, make sure we're outrunning Tapu Koko if they're just timid max, which I think makes a lot of sense to try to outrun my Iron Boulder here. We also have an Akaberry Arboliva. This thing, it's an interesting mon in the match. I think it's really solid because Specs Tapu Koko looks great into me. I have no ground type, so Thunderbolt is pretty much unresisted besides Arboliva and Regidrago, which don't really want to switch in, besides Arboliva, obviously. So this is my switch into that. I hate if they're physical. I hate if they're clicking U-turn against me, especially because we don't have the Seed Sower, because that's banned in this league. But we're rocking Akaberry Harvest. I think that's a fun way to kind of be able to check the Volcanion. Earth Power should be doing maybe 50 to 60% if they're a more offensive, even with 100 EVs in HP or something like that. I could definitely see them being Assault Vested, something of that sort. We can just hit them back with a Mirror Coat. If they want to hit Dazzling from Coco, if they want to hit me with a Make It Rain from Golden Go, Flamethrowers from that Volcanion, we can just Mirror Coat it back, do a ton of damage, which goes crazy. I thought Alluring Voice was needed on the set too, just so we don't get swept by a setup Latias. Should be able to break a sub if it's gonna try to sub in front of me without a Calm Mind Up, but if it Calm Mind's up in my face, I'll confuse it, and then I have other ways that I can hopefully deal with that. We have Booster Energy Iron Boulder, which I think is very, very good here. We are speed boosting set on this. We are outrunning the Ogerpon, so we'll outrun a Scarfed Ogerpon once the booster is up. And if we get a Sword Stance up, we can honestly just win with this thing off the bat. What do we sword stance up against? You know, it's kind of up in the air. We can probably sword stance versus Latias. We can probably sword stance versus Tapu Koko. We can probably sword stance versus Comfy. We can, I don't know. We might be able to sword stance versus a couple different things depending on what they click. But if we get a sword stance up, everything on their team dies. Everything drops, which is going to be a theme that you'll see here. Obviously with Aegislash, Iron Boulder, we're bringing a lot of setup here because I don't think my matchup is very good the longer this game goes on. I think their team has great pivots. I think that if they get the Latias or the Comfy or the Golden Go in a good position, they can set up and sweep. Same with Ogerpon. Even same with Tapu Koko, man. I think it can go crazy. Things to note on this Iron Boulder: Throat Chop is here to hit the Palisand before Terra. It also hits an Air Balloon, a Golden Go, and should knock that thing out at +2. We also have a Rocky Helmet, Slowbro. By the time you guys will see this video, I'll have posted my video about why Rocky Helmet is overpowered in Draft League. This is a prime example. So good into the Ogerpon. Even if they're clicking knockoff into me, don't care. Getting chip on that thing is vital for this game. I just need everything chipped. But the real kicker here is if that Tapu Koko is U-turning around on my team to try to catch that Arboliva, switch into Slowbro, I can get the Regenerator back. We're chipping that thing down too. And then we also check the Zangoose. So Zangoose, top 5 kill leader, like I mentioned. That mon is a huge, huge threat. If it's not Sword Stance, cannot knock me out in one hit with a Facade, even Adamant, Toxic Orb boosted. We get some chip on that, chips with Toxic. We can regen out. We can switch out to potentially Aegislash, who can obviously be immune. They might click knockoff. We have things that we can sack off versus it. We can sack this thing off and just get a ton of Rocky Helmet chip off if we need. It's really just our catch for those physical attackers that might be really, really tough for us to deal with. We have Haze on this thing as well, so Latias can't set up on us. Neither can Ogerpon, neither can Golden Go. Obviously, like those things we're not really going to stay in on, but it can be a last line of defense, especially against Comfy as well, because this thing checks Comfy, as Draining Kiss is hit by Rocky Helmet, so it can't really touch me unless it's Leech Seed. We have Flamethrower on here just to try to catch a Golden Go. Potentially if we come in on Ogerpon, we might just click Flamethrower into their team to catch Golden Go that might want to come in. We can also click Toxic, which is great for whittling down that Palisand. We have Minior here. Knew I had to run it. It looks incredible here with White Herb, Shell Smash, just normal shenanigans. Cannot Terra this thing because I have Shell Smash on the set. Technically, I think if I don't click Shell Smash, I can probably Terra it, but I'm not even going to take the risk. But Earthquake Acrobatics just looks absolutely incredible into their team, especially once Palisand is chipped. But even if it's not, I can probably set up an extra Shell Smash in its face, get to +3 and be able to chip that thing where one of my other sweepers will be able to really do the work. Because Palisand in this matchup is really the glue that's binding together their team. Once that's gone, the team is absolutely blown open. We also have Substitute on this set, just so we can get down under the shields down and get that speed and attack boost if needed. We can also use it to block some, prankster shenanigans. I'm like Volbeat, it could come here. I predicted that Illumise might come versus from Hunky Donkey, which it did. So I think the Volbeat definitely could come here. I don't think it's quite as good as Illumise looked into me, especially with the team that Lux has. I don't really think they want to play for that sort of game. And then last up, we're going to have Regidrago. Terra Grass on this thing, something that we just cooked up at the last minute. This is immune to the Leech Seed from Comfy. And I Terra out. They're doing, maybe 20% with a Draining Kiss to me. It's absolutely nothing. We can just Dragon Dance up in their face and click Earthquake, especially if they're chipped down a little bit, especially if we already have a Dragon Dance up or a Scale Shot up and we can just sweep through their team. Earthquake hits them. It doesn't hit them too hard, especially if they're like physically bulky. But if they're not physically bulky, if they're just max HP, a +1 Earthquake is definitely two-shotting them. Even after Draining Kiss, I believe. Maybe not plus leftovers. I don't know. But this mon is just really solid. We have the speed to speed creep a Jolly Tyranitar in case they want to bring Dragon Dance, because that actually does look quite good into me, besides potentially Basculin, Scarf Ninetales that could look good into it, which were both mons that I thought about bringing in this game, but I couldn't just fit. And we're not quite outspeeding Tapu Koko when we're +1, but if we get to +1, they can't really touch me. Like, the worst they can do is potentially U-turn. If they're physical, they can click Brave Bird, I guess, into Terra Grass. But if we're not Terra'd, then we Terra Grass on potentially a Fairy move, click Dragon Dance again, and we destroy their team with Earthquake, Scale Shot, and Crunch. Crunch is also on there. Just like we said with Iron Boulder having Throat Chop, it hits the Palossand, and it also takes care of Air Balloon and Golden Go. So that's my team. Went into a little bit more depth this week than I usually do for these because I'm really trying to win. I want to make a very, very strong postseason push here, especially since this is my last season in the PSL. After this, no more Showdown. We're just moving straight on to Wi-Fi. I think it'll be a very fun time, but it'll be a very tough time, and hopefully we can start it off right here. That's about it for me. See you guys in the battle. All right, we see what they're bringing. No Comfy's nice. They did end up bringing the T-Tar, which I really didn't think was going to come since it can't come with sand. The Minior looks very, very great here. I feel like that Zangoose has to be Terra Fairy. I mean, or the T-Tar, I guess. Something has to be Terra Fairy. Or else I just win on the spot with Regidrago. I set up a DD. Because obviously they have Coco, but it doesn't do anything. I don't hate Minior to break off the bat, but if they're going to be something like Coco as the lead, then I'm not really too sure about that. I would like Aegislash's lead here, but they do have the T-Tar, which scares me just a little bit. I think T-Tar is a really good lead into me. It's just a solid mon that I didn't fully expect, you know? I think I'm going to go Arboliva. It's really good against the Coco or the T-Tar. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. They're going to go Coco. We're going to go Arb. Man, they're probably clicking U-turn. Let's see. U-turn. Yeah, U-turn makes a lot of sense. I think Giga Drain is pretty fine. I could also click Alluring Voice, but I don't think that makes that much sense. Because I think Ogerpon might come out. 2 Ogerpon, how much are we doing? I mean, Giga Drain's not bad. And then we can Alluring Voice to keep them from setting up. We're just going to go for Giga as they Volt Switch. There's no U-turn, they are just Volt Switch. Makes sense, I don't have a ground type. But it shows that that's special. That's actually interesting. So we do 16% to this guy. Yeah, maybe a little bit of HP. Are they like... They might be Modest Coco. Timid Coco can do that too. I don't want to lose to this thing. And the way that I'm looking at not losing to this thing right now is by Alluring Voice so they can't set up. As they're just going to U-turn, just 47. That's a pretty much max roll from Jolly. Unfortunate, but, you know. That shows me it's probably Choice Scarf. I think Choice Scarf makes a lot of sense in this game. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, is Choice Scarf. Let me just, you know, put that in my head for later. What did they go to here? Golden Go? Volcanion, maybe? Volcanion, Flamethrower, we live. We even live a Sludge Bomb. As long as they're not Modest. Modest, Sludge Bomb could potentially kill. But I think I would click Mirror Coat. As they do go Volcanion. We Alluring Voice. And I think here is just where we click Mirror Coat. Into the Flamethrower or Sludge Bomb. This is kind of what I'm here to do. Being weak against the Coco sucks. It does, but I don't think we have a great switch into a fire move here. I would love an aggressive switch, but we have a ton of physical. Say Steam Eruption. Okay. They do get the burn. We click Mirror Coat. Now that fire move is very, very free. Steam Eruption did 17. They're not modest. 17.5, they're not even max attack. That might be a max roll. I think we're gonna click Mirror Coat again. Flamethrower has a 50% chance to kill me, looking at this. So we're gonna go for it. Akka. If we didn't get the burn, we would have killed them back there. Unfortunate. Alright, Aegislash. You take this Flamethrower. We click Autonomize and we get +2. Yeah, but I think they have Scarf Ogre in the back. That is definitely an issue. And Minior versus this thing. Oops, my bad, my bad. I hate the Minior forms in this thing. I do think that we would live. I could also just go Boulder and go Mighty Cleave. Because they don't have a good switch in. We're faster than everything on their team. We could just use it to break a little bit. T-Tar is probably too scared to come in. We'll go Boulder now. Get our booster speed up. We'll click Mighty Cleave here. I would think about Swords Dancing, like predicting a switch, but I don't think they switch. With the Rock type coverage coming around on my team, I don't really think so. Man, that burn, very, very unfortunate. And we had, like, it was a 50-50 shot to live that because it looked like they were no investment. I mean, they could have been just some investment because that was a max roll of Flamethrower first, or a max roll of Steam Eruption. So they might have had a little bit. Still means that the burn mattered, because that 6% is a big difference. And having that Volcanion be gone, where we don't have to bring out Iron Boulder, would have been really nice. But like T-Tar, we could have close combat. I didn't end up bringing it. I really didn't think T-Tar was going to come. But we could potentially have that. Zangoose, same thing. They would have to click Terra in front of us. And if it's not Terra Fairy, then we can just win with Drago. So they have gold. Make It Rain is actually a roll to kill if they're defensive. And if they're not defensive, then this Earthquake is doing a ton. So I'm just going to go for Earthquake. Do 71. So they're going to Shadow Ball. Does 100%. Shadow Ball, is that modest? Modest spell tag, can that knock me out? Yes, but doesn't that often. I think this is Choice Specs. I think this might be Choice Specs. That damage, I mean, it would make sense. I think Minior is able to come in here then and set up a Shell Smash. And they don't have priority. Right? I hate it on here. You can't really see the right Minior form. I know I just said that. Because it calcs with the attacking one. I'm going to go Minior. We'll go into this thing. We'd never die to Shadow Ball. I'll click Shell Smash. Yep. Gonna bring us right in range. And now we're faster than everything on their team and we absolutely destroy them. Right? Earthquake kills gold. What are they bringing out next? Yeah, what comes out here? I'd like to see their answer. Because it's not Ogerpon, it's not Coco, it's not T-Tar, unless they're defensive. They have to be max HP to have a chance to live. It is T-Tar, okay. We're just going to click Earthquake. And we just knock it out. I think Minior is going to pick them all up here. I don't think there's anything they can really do about it. Besides Zangoose Terra. They go Ogre. Well, Acro. They might think I don't have that much speed investments. They would outspeed with Scarf. But yeah, that thing dies. Coco comes out. Dies to Earthquake. Bang. Critical hit did not matter. And then the Zangoose comes out. Acro does the most. They don't even Terra. That thing is gone. GG. We get a nice big 4-0 to cap off our season. 4-1. I think we're +5 after that, which feels really, really good. We're locked into the playoffs as a 3 or 4 seed. We'll see what happens, but I feel really, really good. We're going to have a bye, so no video next week. Probably I might do some sort of recap video if I really feel like it, if I want to. But I'm super happy with this. I think Minior actually did something this season, except for, obviously swept a game earlier. But after the MVP season in Season 5, Minior didn't really do too much. But, in this battle, absolutely destroyed. I think even if we weren't able to set up with Minior, we had other win cons in the back. Obviously, that Specs Golden Go, that thing hurt, man. But I think Drago can come in and click Dragon Dance. Potentially click Scale Shot to kill that thing. Yeah, we click Dragon Dance once we click Scale Shot to become faster than the Ogre Pawn. They would have to sack off Coco at least. And that would give us an opportunity to potentially set up with H-Slash. But I don't know. It is what it is. If you guys did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for Minior popping off again. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.